Welcome back to Aria's Diaries. I'm so glad you're here, whether you're curled up in bed, on a long drive, or just taking a quiet moment for yourself. This is your space. A space for stories. When we left off, alliances had shattered. The nice guy was gone, the mean girl was humiliated, and the only person left standing in the rubble was the one I'd sworn to hate. Tonight's story is about what happens when the game changes, when the crowd is watching, when the lights are blinding, and the line between enemy and protector disappears completely. So get comfortable, let the story continue. The stadium buzzed like a live wire under the floodlights. The air was crisp, smelling of popcorn, grass, and teenage anticipation. It was our first home game, and the energy was contagious, even for me. From the sidelines, in my uniform, I chanted and moved through the routines with the rest of the dance team. My body was on autopilot. My eyes kept drifting to the field, to number 18, Jaxon. He moved with a focused, ruthless grace, a completely different person from the smirking boy in biology class. During a timeout, as we rallied on the sidelines, I felt a sharp elbow in my ribs. Sierra. Her smile was all teeth. "Try to keep up, Reyes, you're a step behind." I didn't respond, I just turned. Executing the next move flawlessly, catching Maya's approving nod from the formation. At halftime, we were ahead by a lot. The team huddled near the benches. My eyes found Jaxon. He was drinking water, his helmet off, hair damp with sweat, and he was looking at me. Not a smirk, not a glare, just a look. Intense, unreadable. Sierra noticed. Of course she did. She sidled up to me, her voice a venomous whisper. "Stop staring at him. He's not interested in charity cases." Something about the noise, the lights, the lingering hurt from Mateo, it made me brave. "He doesn't seem very interested in you either," I said quietly, not looking at her. "Considering he's ignoring you to stare at a charity case." Her face contorted. She grabbed my arm, her nails digging in. "Listen, you little... Is there a problem here?" Jaxon's voice. He was right there. He'd crossed the field, his shoulder pads making him look massive up close. Sierra instantly dropped my arm, her face transforming into something sweet and wounded. She's just being her usual jealous self. "It's fine," I said, rubbing my arm. "It's nothing new." Jaxon's eyes went from my face to where her fingers had been. "It doesn't look like nothing." He turned to Sierra. "Back off." She scoffed, rolling her eyes, but she walked away, shooting me a final, poisonous glare. We were alone, just for a moment, in the chaos of the sideline. "Thanks," I said, surprised. "Anytime." We stood in awkward silence, the roar of the crowd a distant hum. "I didn't expect you to come over," I admitted. "Yeah, well, I couldn't just stand by." "You would any other time. What's different now?" He didn't have an answer. He just looked at me, and for a second the mask was gone. I saw the same tired, bruised boy from my driveway. "I should get back," he finally said. "Yeah, me too." I walked back to the team, my heart doing a strange, frantic dance in my chest. The second half flew by. We won decisively. The final whistle blew, and the stadium erupted. Confetti, cheering, the collective release of victory. As the crowd began to disperse, I lingered near the bleachers, helping gather our pom-poms. That's when I saw him storming across the field. Mateo. His eyes were locked on me, his expression dark. He reached me fast. "You're seriously talking to him now? That fast, huh?" "Mateo, stop. You're making a scene." "What? He whispers in your ear once and now he's your hero? You actually think Jaxon cares about you? Remember, he's a coward. Before I could respond, a shadow fell over us. Jaxon stepped between us, his body a solid wall. Back off. She doesn't owe you anything. You don't know what you're talking about, Mateo snarled, shoving Jackson's shoulder. Jaxon didn't budge. No, I know exactly what you're here to do. And it's not working. You messed up. She doesn't want you. The crowd around us stilled, sensing the storm. You're only doing this to get under my skin, Mateo spat. I could give a fuck how you feel, Jaxon replied, his voice low and dangerous. Mateo looked like he was about to swing, but Coach's whistle cut through the tension like a blade. Enough, Mateo, to the bench, now. Mateo glared at me, then at Jaxon before storming away. Jaxon turned to me. You okay? Yeah, thanks. For that. Anytime, seriously. Our eyes held. The noise of the celebrating stadium faded. There was a new charge in the air between us. Less like a fight, more like a current. An hour later, the stadium was empty. Just me, sitting high in the metal bleachers, the cold seeping through my uniform. The silence was a relief. Footsteps echoed on the aluminum steps. I didn't need to look. You always sit up here alone after games? Jackson's voice. He was climbing up, still in his jersey, his helmet hooked on his fingers. Are you stalking me now? Just making sure you didn't disappear on your own, after today's chaos. You mean your WWE moment with Mateo earlier? Yeah, he's lucky Coach showed up. He sat down beside me, not too close, but close enough that I could feel the heat coming off him. We sat in a silence that, for the first time ever, wasn't filled with animosity. You didn't have to defend me, you know, I said finally. I'm not some damsel. He shrugged, looking out at the empty field. Didn't do it 'cause you needed me to. Okay, calm down, Mr. Noble. A faint smirk touched his lips. Don't get used to it. Good, because we're not friends. He looked at me then, and his eyes were softer than I'd ever seen them. Right. Just two people who sit in empty stadiums after messy fights. I mumbled, almost to myself, and maybe don't hate each other quite as much anymore. He leaned back on his elbows. Progress. The word hung between us, fragile and real. The next Monday, Maya and Chloe ambushed me at my locker. Spill, right now, Maya demanded. Was Jaxon actually about to fight Mateo over you? And then you two disappeared together after the game, Chloe added, eyes wide. First of all, nothing happened. Second of all, he just sat with me on the bleachers. That's it. On the bleachers. Alone. Maya raised an eyebrow. And you let him? He's different this time, for once. Girl, Chloe said, grinning, that's how it starts. I started to walk away, but the vibe in the hallway shifted. There he was, coming down the corridor. His eyes met mine for a single electric second as he passed. Hey, he said. Hey, I breathed back. Oh, it's definitely like that, Maya whispered in my ear. Late that night, past midnight, I was in bed, music low, staring at my ceiling, replaying the stadium, the bleachers, the hey in the hallway. Tap, tap. A soft knock, not at my door, at my window. I peeked through the curtains. Jaxon was on the small balcony of his bedroom, which faced mine. He was holding up a notebook. On it, he'd written in big letters, Are you up? I narrowed my eyes, grabbed my own notebook, and wrote back, creepy, but yes. He grinned and wrote again. Don't have your new number. This was my only option. I wrote, why are you even trying to talk to me? He answered, because I think you needed someone to. My chest tightened. I wrote, you're the last person I expected to care. He shrugged, then wrote, maybe I care more than I should. I hesitated, then held up my notebook. Why do you keep showing up? This time he didn't write back. He just said it, his voice low but clear across the few feet of darkness between our balconies. Because I hate seeing you sad, and I don't really hate you anymore. My throat closed up. I ducked my head, pretending to scribble something just to have something to do with my hands. I didn't write, I just whispered it back, hoping he could hear. I don't think I hate you either. Friday night brought another party. This one at a senior's house with a huge glowing pool. It was the kind of event where everyone was trying too hard to have the perfect night. I was with Maya and Chloe sipping a drink, trying to ignore the fact that Mateo had just walked in, with Sierra attached to his arm, laughing too loud. They kissed, right in the middle of everything, for everyone to see, a deliberate performance, the knife twisted. Wow, Maya muttered. They're really trying to twist it, huh? It's whatever, I said, but my chest felt tight. Then he walked in. Jaxon. Board shorts, sunglasses pushed into his hair. He scanned the crowd, found me, and walked straight over. You okay? He asked. I've had worse days. They're doing it on purpose. Don't let them get to you. Before I could reply, Sierra's shrill voice cut through. Oh my God. Hey, didn't even see you there. Her fake sweetness was nauseating. You look so cute in that swimsuit. Totally brave of you to wear it. Maya rolled her eyes. She's about to be brave enough to punch you in the face. Mateo gave Jaxon a smug look. Didn't know you two were hanging out now. Don't know that it matters what you think, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. I see someone's deciding to speak up for herself now, Sierra purred. I'd had enough. I walked away toward the pool, just wanting to dip my feet in the water and cool my burning anger. I didn't see her coming. A hard, two-handed shove between my shoulder blades. Gasp. Cold. Darkness. I was in the deep end, disoriented, my lungs burning. I surfaced, choking, to the sound of screams and laughs. Through blurry, chlorinated vision, I saw Sierra standing at the edge, smirking. And then I saw Jaxon. He didn't hesitate. He didn't look at Sierra, he just jumped in. Strong arms wrapped around me, hauling me to the edge. Hey, you good? He asked, his hands brushing wet hair from my face as I coughed. I'm fine, I sputtered. She's gonna regret that, he said, his voice a low growl meant only for me. He helped me out. Someone handed me a towel. Jaxon took off his own dry shirt and put it around my shoulders. I stood there, dripping, wrapped in his clothes, as he faced a fuming Sierra and a stunned Mateo. What the hell was that? Mateo shouted at Sierra. Oh, please, Sierra snapped. She's playing victim and he's eating it up. Even if she was, that was low. And him? Mateo gestured to Jaxon. He's not your problem anymore. Oh, so now you're defending her too? You miss her or something? Mateo hesitated. The pause was all the answer she needed. You've got to be kidding me, Sierra muttered. Jaxon stepped forward, his jaw tight. You think this is a game? No, Jaxon. I think you forgot who you're supposed to be loyal to. He laughed, cold and humorless. Loyal? You shoved her into a pool to make a scene for attention. She's using you. She wants you both fighting over her because she's never gotten attention. Say that again, Jaxon said, his voice dropping to something dangerous. All right, man, chill out, Mateo said, stepping in. Oh, now you want to play peacemaker? Jaxon turned his glare on him. She's not yours, man. Sierra's mouth fell open. Across the pool, I stood frozen, watching it all unfold. Girl, Maya whispered, they're about to fight over you. Chloe pulled out her phone. This is better than Netflix. Sierra's voice cut through. You two want to act like she's the prize? Just remember who's better. Mateo's jaw was clenched. Jaxon didn't even look at her. He turned, walked back to me, and took my hand. Let's get out of here. He led me past the stairs, the whispers, the wreckage of the party. Mateo watched us go, and Sierra was left screaming on the inside. The car ride home was quiet. He pulled up in front of our houses. Neither of us moved to get out. You okay? He asked again, his voice rough. Yeah, just tired. There was a beat of silence. Then he leaned toward me, his eyes flicking down to my lips. I leaned back instantly, a frown on my face. What are you doing? He pulled back, rubbing the back of his neck. I don't know. I thought that I was vulnerable, that now was a good time to try something. His expression shifted from surprise to hurt. No, it's not like that. Then what is it, Jaxon? Because I'm not a charity case or a game. He looked at me, really looked at me. I'm not trying to use you, I swear. I'm just starting to feel a way about you. I don't know what it is. My breath caught. I don't get it, but it's real, at least for me. I sat there staring straight ahead, the words swirling in my head. I need time, I finally whispered. He nodded, swallowing hard. Yeah, of course. I got out and walked to my house, my mind reeling. Later that night, I was in bed, trying to process it all when I heard it again. Tap, tap. I pulled back the curtain. Jaxon was there, barefoot in plaid pajama pants and nothing else. His hair was messy, and the streetlight caught the fresh purple bruise along his jaw. I yanked the window open. What happened? I didn't know where else to go, he muttered. Me and my dad, we got into it again. I reached out instinctively, my fingers brushing the edge of the bruise. Jaxon. It's not as bad as it looks, he said quickly. I just couldn't stay there tonight. I stepped aside. Come in. He climbed through the window, quiet and careful. Once inside, he stood awkwardly in the middle of my room, arms crossed over his chest. I handed him a hoodie, a clean one. Here, sit down. He pulled the hoodie over his head and dropped onto the edge of my bed. We sat in silence for a moment. I wasn't lying about earlier, he said, not looking at me. About how I feel. I know, I said softly. He let out a long breath. It's messed up, right? After everything. Yeah, I said, it is. But I didn't ask him to leave. He stayed that night. We didn't kiss. We didn't do anything. We just existed in the same quiet space. He fell asleep slumped against my wall, and I watched him. This boy who was all sharp edges and hidden bruises, looking younger and more broken in his sleep. In the morning, I walked him out the back door before the sun was fully up. That afternoon on FaceTime with Maya and Chloe, I told them about the confession. about him staying over, about the kiss that didn't happen, but somehow felt more intimate than if it had. They freaked out, of course, but in the middle of their squealing, I saw Maya's smile falter. Me and Liam officially broke up last week, she admitted quietly. He said we just fell apart. My heart ached for her. The three of us ended the call with a promise to have a sleepover, to be there for each other, because amid all the chaos with boys, that was the one constant that mattered. I looked out my window at his house. Something had irrevocably changed. The war was over, and neither of us knew what peace looked like. But peace is fragile, and in our world, it never lasts long. If you want to know what happens when a secret photo spreads through the whole school, when a lie told in a locker room threatens to destroy everything that's been built, and when the only way forward is to start over from the beginning, you'll have to come back for part 5. Thank you for listening, for trusting me with this story. This is Aria, reminding you that the most complicated stories often have the simplest beginnings. 2 people and a choice. Until next time.